So my name is Anrick, and I'm an interactive director working with Unit9 in London, based in London. I've been doing interactive storytelling and experimental websites for more than 10 years, working with big agencies, working with big brands, but also often on very small jobs, creating experiments, trying to redefine how you interact in the browser or on your phone. I started working in animation and visual effects many years ago. That was a bit of an accident, actually. And animation was awesome and fun, and it taught me a lot of different things that still apply now. But yeah, I was in animation for many years. I just decided to learn how to code. That was in the old days when Flash was alive. And through my interest in coding, I ended up working with these guys at Unit9, which was, again, a weird accident. And I just stayed, and I never left. I wouldn't say that I code professionally. I haven't done that for a long time. I still code on a daily basis just for my own work, but I'm definitely a step removed from coding specifically. I am a director of web-based and interactive projects, so I work directly with everybody involved. I'm a little bit like Google Translate. Between my team, everybody who works in a different way or uses different software or has different processes, somebody needs to translate who is doing what and what's important for them, and that's my job. And that's especially true on commercial work. Commercial work nowadays involves fairly large teams who are often not working on the project at the same time. So again, I translate just over time. I make sure that things are going to be ready for people in the right way. I understand what's important for different people. That includes developers, but also sound designers or motion graphic designers or storyboard artists, those kind of things. I think it's fun, but it's also very tough. It's a very diplomatic project, process. You work with, again, people that have very different priorities. That's not just people in my team, but also my clients. And so you have to find a way forward. I begin with a script, and it's weird sometimes to think of a script in an interactive format. But really, if you begin with a script, even if it's the simplest of stories, even if it's a user journey for a very functional piece of work, the script underpins everything that everybody does. It's a way to create a mission for everybody involved and to communicate ultimately as a user, what's the journey that you're going to take, what's the experience like. So that's the way to organize my projects, and that's the way to communicate with my teams, even if over time they all do very different things. I think quite a lot. It's a weird thing because I don't really sit down and specifically research. I don't have time in my week reserved for research, but I read a lot. I study a lot. I'm curious about everything, especially new types of software, new ways of building. If I see a piece of work by somebody and I don't know how it was made, I really immediately want to find out. So I guess the research is deconstructing the work I see and admire and love. And it's just reading ferociously, reading constantly about not just the technology, but also just ideas or concepts about working or processes, or even something as straightforward as new ways of project managing your work. Like, as a creative, you generally aren't concerned with the way that a project is structured. But I'm interested in everything. Every single little layer of the project is interesting for me, because I will at some point have something to do with it. So I read, I learn. I spend a lot of time on Twitter, obviously, and take articles from there. I discovered more recently Quora, which is a really great social network based on questions and answers. Very powerful way of being engaged with different people all over the place.
I've heard about Quora not long ago, but
yeah, it's beginning to bubble up a little bit now. through my work especially, people are involved with that, and they're emailing me different answers to things that are interesting for me. So I've just done it. I've just began playing with it myself. But I think it'd be interesting to not just take, like, it's interesting with Twitter, you take things out of Twitter, and of course you tweet and you post. But with Quora, it's really a dialogue. You create a question which generates a mini community around all the answers.
Yeah.
So it's quite nice.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yes.
There's some really great people out there. I mean, Jonathan Harris is one. Vincent Morissette is another. Those are people that I look to for inspiration. I think their work always amazes me. They do things that I wish I dreamt of and I didn't imagine. Actually, at the same time, I would say that the young people that I have working with me and the young people that I read about that are now beginning to make a name for themselves, they usually inspire me the most. I think it's very interesting with technology because often experience isn't really the most valuable thing. It's having a completely fresh mind, a completely different perspective. And it's the young people coming up now which are really making a big impact, I think. If you really begin looking for the work out there, they have a different approach, using sometimes the same tools as I use every single day. So I think it's both, you know, it's some of those veterans out there that are making work, but it's also really the young guys and girls that are now beginning to use code to make something beautiful. I'm really interested in virtual reality and augmented reality. I think that's, you know, I'm not alone in that. That's really the big next step for a lot of people. They're all looking to that. I've had the pleasure of doing a lot of research on both virtual reality and augmented reality. The HoloLens announcement from Microsoft was an amazing eye-opener. Just thinking about what that could do. It's really magical. And the Oculus Rift, of course, the Samsung Gear, of course. It's a whole new world. At the same time, we have all these other technologies out there. So the real world is still fascinating. I'm not a believer in only focusing on the virtual world, but I think the blend is really, really interesting and really, really powerful. It's interesting. I mean, I think I'm working very specifically in a storytelling field. I think all different types of websites and projects are going to continue. But there's now a kind of split. There's a split from the website in the browser and away from that, the website as a means to going into a different technology. So for example, if you take virtual reality and you take projects which are being released on the web, really with the benefit of being explored in virtual reality, you get a dual function. You get websites which are actually connecting you to a device, to a product. That's very interesting, and I think that's the future of all the work that we are doing. The website is no longer going to be the destination. It's going to be your iWatch, it's going to be your Oculus Rift, it's going to be your HoloLens, it might be just simply your projector, the Internet of Things. The website is becoming a conduit for different products. I really, really struggle with this all the time because I want to learn everything, all the time. And I find myself spending 10 minutes on everything all day long, and it's not enough. So I guess the first thing I want to learn is to focus a little bit more. So many options, so many opportunities, so many different things I could be doing. It's very difficult. The other thing I'm very interested in learning is finding a better way to get support and help for my personal work. I love working on my own projects. They are hard to finance, they are hard to start up. It's really hard to get the support, and it's really hard to ask people to work for free even. It's something as simple as that. But I've never been really very good at making people aware of what I'm doing so that they can help. I'm learning only now at the end of The Most Northern Place, which is a web documentary I made. I'm only now learning how there's a benefit on both sides. I always thought of funding and grants as something that would benefit me, like I have to beg for it or help to get help. But really, there's a benefit in the community on both sides. So getting support, learning how to apply for grants, I think it's a key skill for me to move forward. It's going to be really interesting. I mean, I don't know if we're going to have and an iWatch and a HoloLens and an Oculus Rift. So I wonder which will become the feature in our daily life. How many different devices can we have? That's a big limiting factor. At the same time, all these technologies are exciting. It's all about what builders and makers are going to do with them that'll make it powerful. What I think is amazing about the Oculus Rift is really the power and the interest in that product is what people are making for it. Independent people out there just doing something on the weekend, or commercial companies trying something. You see projects now that have a lot of money behind them, but still the most impressive VR content I've seen was self-funded, just a little shoot on the weekend. It's the content that makes it powerful. So I think for all of these devices, the only thing I can say is it's the content that makes it powerful. And it's an amazing time, I think, to be a content maker, whether that's an app, whether that's a service, a product, or whether that's entertainment. All these devices depend on a community of people making things to live within that product. It meant a lot to me, and that's especially because in the last case, it was my personal project that won it. It was the Most Northern Place. And it was the first time that I think I realized that there was a lot of value in what I'd done. When you make a piece of work on your own, with the help of many friends, by the way, not really alone, but in the sense that when I launched that project, I really didn't have a marketing plan. I didn't really have a way of getting it out there yet. And winning the awards, the awards Saturday day helped me get some recognition. Winning that award gave me the chance for people to see it and to get feedback. And all of a sudden I had some sense of, wow, people are really looking at this thing. This thing is really out there. People are appreciating it. So it was an amazing moment for me. Yeah, really important. It's the first time I was confronted with the feeling that it's really out there. It felt real to me for the first time. Does that make sense?